Welcome, everyone. This is Palatinos, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week, I am joined by Krister.
Hello.
Hello there, Krister. Had a fun time with LOTRO recently?
I have, in fact. I decided to enter a dark realm that I have seldom visited, and I dusted my warg off.
Ooh, we'll get to that when we get to your week in LOTRO, I guess. So let's head into the news. First up is that we have the final Bulwer build for update 41.
Hooray!
That was the last one, or that we had another build?
Yeah, that's the last one. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. Well, then, the first thing to note is they finally got around to having a testing of birding. So I had a chance to
How
check
many
that
did you spot?
2, I think. So not many yet. I didn't want to spend too much time. I was just getting an idea what it is, and naturally, they leveraged some of the work they did with fishing in there. so
You.
those, so essentially, your bird watching kit, which is essentially your spyglass in there, is you're operating in the same way that you operate your fishing rod when you're doing your fishing.
Oh, I was hoping you're telling me that it was actually a bird rod, where you would have to cast out a line and catch the bird, and then pull it close to you so you could watch it.
No, not quite that. No, you're trying to see it through your spyglass. And then it goes into your collections panel if you actually spot it. I didn't quite get it down yet on how it operates and all, but I guess that'll come in time. And eventually those will go into your collections panel. And currently it's implemented for area door only. So therefore, if you want to go around doing bird watching, you have to go into various places at area door all over the place in there. They're planning to add other regions as time goes on, but they want to make sure they get the core of it done first, then get player feedback so they can make their tweaks. And then once they have that settled, then they could go about adding places like Ravanian and Gondor to the mix.
I'm kind of interested to understand how it works too. The mechanic of it is like, if you observe the bird, is the bird then unobservable by anybody else, or could you be with a group of people, see a bird, point over to where that bird is, and everybody else can see it? It'd be kind of fun to be, that's kind of competitive. Maybe if you see the bird first, nobody else can see it. So then you have a bunch of people contesting. It's a peaceful conflict, but they're kind of elbowing each other for that.
I suspect they're going to avoid something like that because whenever they've done anything competitive before, it has always turned into a bit of a mess, shall we say? The latest version of that story being the Foresters event and how long it took them to get that finally settled down. But for example, there was the horse races at the festivals. And you say, of course, these days it's not a horse race anymore. It's more of a time trial. And the reasons why it's a time trial instead of a horse race is because back when it was a horse race, things went wrong. And because every point of view gave a different opinion as to who won the race, they're just tired of getting tickets about saying, well, hey, I crossed the finish line first, but I didn't win the race. What's this all about? And that's, of course, is that 9% of the time, you're the one who you look like you're the first one to cross the finish line, even if you aren't. So
Right,
you need an
right.
outside person in order to actually tell who won the race. And in fact, that's how come they had people when they were doing horse races. I think there was a kinship that used to do horse races all over the various places of Eriador, and they would have people at the finish line taking screenshots and all this stuff to tell who crossed first because No, you always think that you won, but nope.
So obviously that the timed the timed event makes a heck of a lot more sense than in that scenario then because then you yeah I can imagine this. I work in tech support, so if you could reduce our calls by 90%, yeah, let's do this.
Yes. Yes, that's sort of the way things go on. And then, of course, there are always the thrilling event of Hobnanigans, so yes, all sorts of little things in there happen whenever there are any competitive events or anything like that. So,
So okay, so bird watching should stay innocuous, really.
I have a feeling that's gonna be the case. So, no, you're not or it's unlikely that they're gonna have any bird recipes anytime soon.
But think of if you could combine it with a particular goos and filths.
Goose and filth.
Hey,
Anyway,
I didn't invent the system.
right. Anyway, first look at birding. We will have a probably a more complete discussion of this next week after it gets released. And also in here, we've had, let's see, any were there any other changes they had this week? Not really all that much change. It looks like it was a fairly stable build. Now, they did do this release on Bulroar, which is where they did the testing, but about halfway through the week, they also brought up Mordor for another round of testing on there, and they had on Thursday a a full test there on various things in there to test the load of the server over there in under normal conditions, shall we say. And that's pretty much all that we have on that side. Now they are planning to release update 41 next week. So on August 31st, if all July 31st. Expect that to be on July 31st, and then they will have the first round of the hardtack event. They're hoping to start on August 1st. So we'll see how that goes. We all know the joyous things that can happen in when you have crafting events.
Villages burning to the ground,
Yes, yes.
misery and strife across the land.
Also, Sev was at San Diego Comic Con this last week, and they have announced. Actually, I guess it's this weekend. Yeah, and on the panel there, they announced the name of the upcoming expansion, and it'll be called The Legacy of Morgoth.
Interesting.
And I am just wondering, what horrific artifact is someone going to be trying to bring up in this particular storyline?
I'm just gonna put this out here because you know what, it could be a possibility. What if we're about to receive Balrog mounts? A war Balrog. Oh my goodness! And if we could apply our existing cosmetics to the war Balrog,
I suspect that the odds of that are so small that you would have trouble seeing it in an electron scanning microscope.
so you're saying there's a chance?
Ah.
I can dream.
You want a Balrog mount.
Or maybe like four Balrogs pulling a carriage, maybe, or something, you know.
Yes. Anyway, it's gonna be called The Legacy of Morgoth, and I suspect that the nastiest of the raid bosses, or actually, that one of the raid bosses that we had, actually, did we actually fight him, or did he always get other people to do his fighting for him, now I think of it? Yeah, I think he always had other people. I don't think we actually fought him throughout that entire dungeon. Well, anyway, the evil mastermind that we are going against, I'm sure, is going to be collecting some horrific thing, and he is heading towards, according to the announcement, to Harad, which is where we are going to be heading in. So they have, let us say, secret, finally revealed exactly where we're going, even though I suspect that there is not a single person who is making any other serious guess in the matter. Right? Where else will we be heading after coming south, right?
Well, I'm interested to see her run. So,
We're going to be interested to see Harad, yes. And I think we will be seeing, I think we are going to be going to near Harad for this, meaning that Far Harad might be later installments or something like. I guess we'll find that out eventually.
well, it'd be far more confusing to release them in a reverse order. So,
Well, yes. And I suspect that the people in Harad are going to be a lot less friendly than the people in Umbar have been.
oh, pshaw! I've already been insulted and called a devotee ad and not been ready for anything for years now. So, it kind of rolls off you.
Okay. Very well then. Then are you prepared to tell people what's on sale this week?
I think I am.
All
For the
right.
store sales, we have Forge Your Own Ring. Get
Ooh.
25% off Crafting Guild access, ingredients packs, crafting accelerators, rapid crafting, crafting tiers, and recipe books. And this is through August 1st. And our weekly coupon is for a free scroll of finesse for 6 hours. The coupon code is with grace, all one word. And that's through August 1st as well.
Whee! Now, you get to forge your own ring. At least you're not allowed to forge your own evil artifact of Morgoth or anything like that.
Well, wouldn't you think that if he could reforge the One Ring, wouldn't that be what you'd want to do? If you're going to bring an evil artifact back, it might as well be the big one.
I am sure the One Ring is a pittance compared to some of the things that Morgoth did.
That's true. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Maybe a one world control all the other worlds.
One world to rule them all, and then the darkness find them.
Could there be like? Is there like? What was like the? I can't believe I forgot this. There's like the first dragon, right? Didn't Morgoth? Was it? Didn't Morgoth bring the dragons?
That's yeah. I think yeah. Morgoth bred the dragons.
So would we potentially be seeing some terrifying, maybe ancient dragons returning from the past? And a bunch of Balrogs riding on him, right? Wasn't that how it was? The Balrogs rode the dragons in. See, that's why we should have flying mounts right there.
Why? Because you've
Because
got
Balrogs rode dragons.
yeah
So I want to ride. Just give me a kite.
a kite.
Yeah, like a maneuverable kite, or bird wings. Maybe it could have like bat wings.
Oh, okay. So you're saying kite? You don't mean like the ones that you have that are treated as cosmetic pets currently in the game.
No, one that you attach to yourself and then you fly in the air.
Okay, so you want them to have a hang glider.
Yeah, I don't know if you've played Enshrouded, but yeah, that's how you get around the map is you actually are gliding on a glider. So
Well, if I remember correctly, well, I did run into a quest at one point where a hobbit was trying to build a hang glider. I believe he chickened out at the end, so we never know how successful his run would have been.
oh, that could be something. Seen squadrons of hobbits in their gliders.
Somehow I have a feeling that hang gliding is not going to be the next hobby.
No. That would be the extension of bird watching, which would be bird catching or bird imitating.
Bird imitating. Let's head into our weekend gaming. Krister, what were you up to?
Well, as I said earlier, I decided to go check out PvP. Uh, and so got into the Etmores, dusted my old Wargoth and stealth, and went cavorting around the map. And of course, what's a visit for a stealth warg in Etmores without hitting Hoare Hollow? So I went down there and ate some hobbits, and it was actually pretty cool. So now I'm looking kind of forward to seeing actually some action out there. And like you had mentioned to me, the we might very well be seeing that with the next release. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, it says that your captain continued your slow crawl through Umbar.
Yes, he's finally called off the that combat that was going to be happening with Rothog. And now he's slowly working. So I'm getting Krister back on track with the questing after being he you know what, he just had a lazy summer, let's just say that.
Okay.
But trying to basically get back in the swing of things, and Umbar is just a big city. There's nothing else to say about
Yeah,
it.
it's a big city.
But I really like how they did it too. I mean, it's always, I think it's always awesome to never be disappointed with how they've done an area or how they've envisioned a place. And so I really like what they did with Umbar. I really liked even like the graphical ideas that they had to do the waves coming in and out on the beaches. It's just been really enjoying the it from a appreciation of the art side.
Okay.
So and then other than that, I was playing some Shrouded this week, and my friends just started playing No Man's Sky, so I dusted that one off because I'd played that pretty crazily for a while, but it'd been a couple of years, and I felt just like Harry Potter when they opened the vault. His parents left him the vault. They opened it up, and he's rich. And so it was just totally awesome because I'd had now I'm going to embarrass myself. I had 200 hours into the game before we played the multiplayer stuff. And so, of course, I'm sitting here in this golden ship with all this gold and all these massive resources and wealth. And it felt really good. It feels so much better having all of this stuff than starting out as a noob again. So that was my week in gaming. How about you, Pine Leaf? What were you up to?
All right. On the field trip, we finished up our questing in Mirkwood, and then we headed over to Rivendell to start gathering some rangers.
Uh,
Uh-oh. Yeah.
yeah, you know what they call a gathering of rangers? Trouble.
Trouble.
That's right, trouble.
I've never heard a gathering of rangers to be called trouble.
That means you're probably one of them. Get him.
Yes. And then in Minecraft, I managed to conquer a trial chamber.
How was that? Is it worth it? I haven't
Well,
messed with those at all yet, but I'm intrigued.
it's it probably depends on what your definition of worth it is. It
Fair enough.
certainly it was definitely not a case of the most glorious loot in the history of the game or anything like that.
Okay.
In fact, I think that from killing the skeletons, because I eventually turned those deadly trial spawners into farms. Like you're a Minecraft player. What do you do to anything that's a potential threat?
Yeah,
You
you
turn it into a
farm it.
farm.
You farm it.
Right. And I was even farming breezes at the end. What I do is I created this breeze farm in there, and yeah, it wasn't one of those farms it where you trivialize the whole thing completely by you being outside and it's impossible for the opponent to reach or anything like that. So I at least had myself inside the same chamber as them and was fighting them face to face, which is probably something closer to a fair fight than what other farms I have seen
Right.
online doing. Yeah, so but I did have to constrain them, for example, because breezes, they love to move all over the place.
Yeah, so as long as you restrict their movement, then you're going to.
Yeah, yeah, right. So I restrict their movement into a 5 by 5 area, so that I mean they're still very fast and hard to hit, but at least I don't have to go halfway through every single trial room with active spawners going on and all stuff like that. And the first time I was going it, I was having a lot of trouble finding the breezes. I eventually started finding breezes on my second or third trip to the dungeon as I'm going down and there's a cave down the way. I'm finding a breeze down there. How did it get there? So yes, those breezes they just travel all over the place. So you have to keep an eye on them to keep them under control.
I've just always been thoroughly impressed by you, Sans and Cinders, and the mechanisms that you guys build and come up with for doing the farming and it just blows my mind. It's just really cool to see that stuff. And that I don't think that's what people understand. That's why Minecraft is so wonderful and amazing because you can think of these insane things to do and then you can actually do them. You know, if you think about it right, you can do it. And so it's just been incredible to see what people can create in that game. So that's
Yeah,
really cool that you could turn those into farms. But
and
I love that viewpoint too. It's just like, oh, this is a terrifying enemy. No, he's not. I'm going to be farming him.
yeah,
I
no.
got,
Well, the first time because when I was first thinking of it, I think, all right, my goal for this particular series that I'm doing on it was to go in there, kill the mobs at least one of the spawners in there, get a key from one of those. So it'll probably take a few times in order to get a key from there, and open up a trial vault. That was goal number one. With goal number two to kill at least one breeze. Those are my goals for the whole thing. And since that time, I have taken over I've taken over every single spawner in the entire area. I deactivated the ones that I'm not interested in doing anything and turned the ones I'm interested in doing anything into farms. Like for example, I completely deactivated the silverfish farm because there's absolutely nothing useful that silverfish can do.
oh, not, you're absolutely right about that.
Yes, yes. So so I'm just using the breeze one and the yes, the one from the breezes, and I was using the one from the skeletons in there, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember what the melee mob was for it because there's supposed to be a melee mob in there also, but I don't remember a single one of those spawners having a melee type creature coming out of it. Because the silverfish are count as a small creature, not as a melee creature. The breeze is its own category. The the
Zombies
hu-
don't care.
the the husks were the ranged opponent.
Yeah. But not the zombies themselves.
I didn't have a zombies. There wasn't a zombie.
That would be the one
One.
that comes to mind to me about a melee, if
Yeah,
anything.
well,
But
they're
you're right
also
because the
yeah,
skeletons just are ranged, right? So
right. Skeletons are yeah. Usually it's the melee ones are some variant of zombies. You could have zombies as one of them that you could have. The second one that you could have are the husks, those actually, the skeletons I was fighting on there, those are strays, not husks, because husks are the zombies that have some sort of debuff they could put on you if they hit you. So you had the husks that could, I mean, so I didn't see anything like husks in there. I didn't see any zombies in there, and I didn't see any spiders. I think those are the three possible melee type mobs that you can have in there. The melee type mobs
Oh,
usually
duh, the
aren't
spiders. Yep.
right. Now, the one I was doing last week with Sands and Cinders in the world where we play together, I did go into that chamber. I haven't taken over yet because I didn't want to alter the trial chamber until Sands, Cinders and you and maybe Jared had an opportunity to
Now, is that close to
use the
the?
chamber.
Is that close to our base, or is that? Did you find that somewhere out in the world?
This one is it's northeast of the village. I don't know if you've ever been to the village where I've been doing. Did you ever go to the village
I
with
I
all those
did.
waterfalls?
Yeah, but it was well, I don't remember the waterfalls, but I visited the village next to where Cinders was building her stuff, or the closest one there, but I visited it right at the beginning. So I haven't been back there.
Yeah,
I
but this is a different village. I think this is one that Sands found early on, and it's a bit of a hike to Cinders' village.
okay, okay.
So I think this is a different. Anyway, this is one where the village they had a couple points down at the bottom, and then they had the rest of them right on this high up on this high plateau. And I eventually created a cartographer there, and the cartographer gave me a map to a trial chamber. So I followed it there, and I found it's to the northeast of the village there. So I went over there, found the trial chamber. So far, I've noticed that I believe that there are strays there, and there are spiders there. I don't know what the small mob is yet. I'm sure, though, if it turns out to be cave spiders, since Winter will not go anywhere near the place, the spiders may be enough of an incentive to keep her away.
Well, I'd really like to see that. So the next time we're all on, that would be fun to do a
Right.
expedition out there.
Yeah, that's why I haven't done anything weird to it yet, like turn it off or anything like that, because I figure everybody wants to have a chance to go into there and fight some of the mobs there and see if we could explore it.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
So that was one of the areas that we had. So therefore, I've been going against trial chambers and all of that during the last week, and also I've been playing more Balatro, and I finally had a chance to collect all of the jokers that are in the game, which means I've had at least one game where I've brought that joker into my inventory. So I've discovered all the jokers in there. So I'm getting close to being completionist. There's one voucher I still need, and there's one more deck I still need to unlock. But other than that,
Are you enjoying the gameplay at this point?
I'm having fun with the gameplay in there.
Excellent.
Which is probably the first roguelike that I've kept on for several weeks, because usually I tire of them after a little time. Like Slay the Spire, I just could never get into Slay the Spire.
Well, there's a lot. There's usually a lot of misses before you find that hit. You know, the one that you can't put down.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, so I've been playing Len a bit also. And that's it for my week in gaming. We do not have any emails this week, but if you like since when you can send it to podcast@loachplayers.com. The Players Alliance has two shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. USC time. We have Loach Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You can listen to our shows at loachplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. Then this is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.